Welcome to a very special edition of the Healing is Possible Hot Seat, where today's topic is nothing is wrong ever. It's Rebeccah Silence, creator of Healing is Possible, with the infamous, glorious royalty, Lia Valencia Key, with her new headpiece that, man, is it gold and gorgeous. I can't even stand how beautiful it is. And we're here to talk about that nothing is wrong. The Healing is Possible Hot Seat is brought to you by me, my team, RebeccahSilence.com, and the Healing is Possible 5-day challenge that will absolutely change your life. It's $27.
Totally.
5 days,
oh, that's good.
5 steps to healing. And we are here with Lia to talk about nothing is wrong. Welcome, Lia.
Thank you for always having me with you. I am honored and overjoyed, and that's so comforting to just hear those words. Nothing is wrong. I think some people could take it sarcastic, like, what do you mean, if you start looking at some lies? But I can't wait to dive into the why behind the mindset of nothing is wrong, because everything's a mindset shift or way of being, which converts to what is true in your life, right?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And I think of it even as more than a mindset. And I love that you talked about the word comfort. It can, and for me, it does bring comfort to just live into nothing is wrong on a spiritual level. Right. This is really a spiritual concept that goes beyond mindset, but it does start with just that thought. And that ability to sit in your mind with this world that exists for you if you choose to live into it, that nothing is wrong. So how about you take it away, Lia? What do you think of? What happens? What do you see? What do you feel when these words, nothing is wrong, are presented?
Oh, when you said it to me, so I love how these topics come about, because you just pop them out. We kind of throw some concepts out, and then some gem drops out of your mouth, Rebeccah. and today another gem dropped out, and nothing is wrong. When I hear, as soon as you said it, it gave me peace, because and I also love that you actually took it from mental to spiritual, because when you can get your mind around the spiritual realm of that, then it can be vice versa and allow your mind to understand it, which is beautiful. Or sometimes you're a cerebral person, so you got to get in your brain first. And so maybe you have to have your brain understand that, and then understand why that's true is because spiritually, all things are in your favor. Like all things. And as challenging, the worst thing, and I know there's some crazy, scary things and horrible things that happen in this world that don't make any sense to us or could never be explained, but we add nothing is wrong when we say, then what can we grow from out of it? What can we give from it? Sometimes you may say, well, oh, that experience was so horrible. I can't grow from that. I can't learn anything from that. And I'd say you're probably true. But then I turn around and say, but you can give from it.
And I love that, Lia.
That mindset, nothing is wrong, because sometimes we're a spiritual martyr. Sometimes we're life sacrifices because someone else needs it. And you happen to go through it so that you can give it. You happen to experience it, grow through it, go through it, persevere past it, and then have a standing point and say, I made it. And here's how I made it. And then that's what you're able to give to the world. And there's some power and some greatness in being able to take your challenge, your mess, your tragedy, and turn it around and shift it into something golden and precious for someone else who needs it or who doesn't even know they need it. But as soon as you start opening up your mouth, and as soon as you start sharing your experiences. You don't even know who needs it. And so that's why nothing is wrong, because you can either gain from it, you can either learn from it, you can either grow from it, or you can actually give and be a blessing of it. And so in that mindset, nothing is wrong. Yes, it's challenging. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's tragic, but truly there's nothing wrong, because if there's some good that can glean out of any fruit, then that's a good fruit. Right?
Oh, Lia, I love this idea of bringing giving to the party. When we're thinking about nothing is wrong, it gives me chills. And I love too that you and I are the ones having this conversation, because it's not this, our lives have been easy pedestal we're sitting on. It's not that we've been immune to crisis or tragedy or heartbreak or devastation or darkness. These are two women. Our show is called It's a Life Thing. And this It's a Life Thing and special edition of the Healing is Possible hot seat is about nothing is wrong, because it is a way of being where you can represent being blessed no matter what.
No matter what.
Right. I've been through abuse, domestic violence, cancer while pregnant, all kinds of crazy, right? And you've been through homelessness and living in.
Lost my mother at a young age, then lost my aunt, then lost my grandmother, lost my father that was a deadbeat. I mean, so I don't know if that counts.
Complete
But
poverty.
still,
Yes.
nonetheless, right? So yes, we can say nothing is wrong. There's always some glory. There's always some gain. There's always some beauty. If God blesses you to breathe through it, then there's something that is coming out of that. And for that, nothing is wrong.
And you have it in you, whether you believe it or not, whether you've met this part of yourself or this version of yourself or not, that can be an example of a miracle based on anything and everything you've been through or are going through. You have the ability to give the highest version of you to the moment in front of you, to the circumstances, the cards you've been dealt. It's not fair. It's not fair and it's not easy. And then you get to be an example of a miracle anyway. And what would that be like? And then it doesn't mean that nothing's really happening or that nothing really happened or that it doesn't hurt or that it isn't hard or devastating, but you can rise to the occasion called your life, which for me, life is the ultimate seminar. You can go to a retreat, you can go to personal events, you can take courses, you can listen to speakers like us, but really where the rubber meets the road is in our day-to-day lives. And who are you going to be? And what are you going to give to the moment you're in? And we all have an opportunity to either make the situation or the person in front of us or even ourselves wrong. But when you do that, I have a mentor, Heather Steele, that talks about when you make someone wrong, you lose all power.
Oh, I just was on a seminar with my Tacha family yesterday. Same concept. We were, it was talking about that mind shift. Like, I love what you said, because we're not downgrading experiences. We didn't say nothing is hard. We didn't say nothing is traumatic. We didn't say nothing hurts, right? We didn't say, oh, this is real experience. Can I make it through? We're saying it's not wrong. So when it's not wrong, then you can make it right. Right? When you're in a wrong, when you're at a wrong, there's no there's no recovery. When you're trying to so good, Lia. Wrong, right? It's a dead end. It's closed up. It's shut down. Put it away. Bury it. Right? That's what wrong is. Wrong is wrong. We're done. That's where we're saying shift the mind. And I love when we get in these experiences, even with human interaction, like on my group discussion, even in human interactions, generally we're trying to, and I can be victim of this. We're trying to prove someone wrong in the case, right? And then it becomes a battle. How about no one be wrong or nothing be wrong? How about we find a way to get it right? How about it's a hiccup? How about it's a hardship? How about, ooh, this shouldn't even happen? Okay, but how do we find a way to get it right? How do we get on the right track? How do we find our way to joy? How do we dig our way out of this deep, dark tunnel? And it's the how that changes your circumstances. I feel the question then is, how do you get to a nothing is wrong mindset?
Well, and I think what
Right.
you're saying about circumstances is really important because you can't change the circumstance, but you can get out of resistance in the circumstances that you're in. And instead
Mhm,
of making it wrong, whether again, it's a person in front of you or a
mhm.
situation, you can go, hold on a second, here it is. Now what? When you're
Yeah,
in this emotional, mental, physical, spiritual space of nothing is wrong, you've got access to the answer to the question, now what? When it's wrong,
yeah,
like Leah said, it's a dead end and you
it's
have
done.
no
You're wrong.
power. And here's the thing, let me just make this gross. If it's wrong, then you're a victim.
Yes, we were talking
So,
about that.
right, if you're not interested in being a victim on a consciousness level, not that you are ever a victim, but I'm wearing and Leah's both wearing, we've got our It's Possible earrings on, right? Because there's always a possibility.
It's
And it doesn't mean
possible.
you have to like it or you're happy or you're flying high and in a high vibe or even grateful. It's just you've got access to now what something's possible beyond this moment, beyond this pain, beyond confusion, suffering, upset, whatever it is. Nothing is wrong. Now what?
Now what? And not to undermine, like, there are situations where you are the victim. How do you not stay the victim? Right? Like
Yes.
that's the power of it. Like somebody's gonna hear and say, oh no, in that situation, I was the victim. Yes, I agree, but then how do you not let that victimization become your representation of you? How do you break through from being what you experienced as a victim and then become a victor?
I love it.
Because that's a beautiful thing, right? We can change. We all at some point have been a victim of something, right? That's life. People target you, experiences happen. But then do you stay the victim? Or do you break through a victimization and become a victor? And that's where nothing is wrong comes into play. That
Yeah.
experience was an experience. Okay, it was horrible. Now then, do I let it bind me up and do I let it be my badge of honor? And do I let it wake every day, stay with me as I wake and I think and I breathe and I eat? Do I let it hold over me as this hovering darkness? Or do I break through from it, find some light, allow it to be my guiding greatness of education to myself and others? And that's when I become a victim.
Well, and
Excuse me, a victor from
right.
victimship.
And you can't have victory. You can't be the victor unless you're in a space of nothing is wrong. Now what?
Yes.
What am I going to give? Who am I going to be? But I do want to challenge this whole idea of, we've all been a victim and we will be victimized. Yes, and yes, and
Mhm.
what if, I'm just going to put this out there.
Mhm.
What if we have the power to get beyond a victim consciousness? I'm talking about your consciousness.
Oh,
That you
yes.
don't, right? You don't have to be in a victim consciousness.
No,
And
yes.
if and when you catch yourself there, you've got this ability, whether you believe it or not yet,
Break
to go
through.
into a space of nothing is wrong and to break through into some possibility and to just find the next right step that serves you and the people in front of you. And then, yeah, there is batshit crazy nonsense that goes on in the world that we're never going to be able to understand, that we're never going to be able to explain, that isn't fair, that is real, that does impact us. But I like to play a game with myself, and you can take it or leave it if you're watching this. And I'm not saying this is the right way, but I have chosen to, as an adult, become someone who, no, I don't get to be a victim in
Yeah.
any situation
Yeah.
because I've got access to divine guidance. I've got access to a version of me that has an eighth gear, that has power and resourcefulness and courage and the ability to be well and lead the situation in front of me no matter what it is. And I think we all have that, and you don't have to agree, but what if you just play with that possibility, because you're an
Yep.
adult now and you've got, whether again you believe it or not, access to support and tools, and you can do more than you think you can with whatever it is that you are facing or whatever cards you are being dealt that aren't your fault.
I love that. I love the concept of understanding when you're allowing yourself to embrace the victimization, right? Because then that's where you shake out of that conscious. That's where you check into, be like, I'm not going to let that hold me. I'm not going to let that be me. I'm not going to let that make me wrong. You know, I'm going to find a way to go through it and push forward. And I just love that, because how we started this was like, all right, let's talk about some joy. Like, let's bring some joy to this, right? And so I'd like to bring it to that. And when you can get into this way of thinking and find a way to find triggers to help you get into this nothing is wrong thinking, you can always find joy. Like, you can always celebrate. You can always smile. You can always laugh or look at life in the most beautiful, wonderful way that it is, when you allow these mindsets to stay at the front of your brain and as your intention and as your purpose. That's what I love.
It helps us lighten up too. I mean,
Yes.
I think absolutely, from a space of nothing is wrong, we get to experience the miracles that are right there, that when we're in this limited mindset and way of being, we can't see, and they're right here. And then you get joy. But also, I think, Lia, we should talk about not just that nothing is wrong, but listen, you're not wrong. Like, what
Yes.
do you carry? What guilt do you carry? What resentments against yourself do you carry? Where won't you forgive yourself? Listen, I believe with all of my heart and soul that your best is enough. And I have been talking about this a lot in the Healing is Possible community. It is absolutely important to move through and grow, like Lia's talking about, and to learn and to get better as the version of you that you want to be. But whatever happened, what if that was your best? The years that I was drinking too much and bulimic and broke and terrified and not believing I could raise my daughter and I by myself, I was a hot mess, and it was my best at the time. I stayed in the game. And whatever it is that you did, I'm going to suggest it was your best at the time and you stayed in the game, and now just do better.
Love that. Love that. Yes, to me, that's the way I live. Like, I'm not going to beat myself up about wrong decisions I did. Look, I'm making a wrong decision every other minute of my life. If I beat myself up or stay wrong, I'll never be able to progress. So I love that concept of just like, yes, we should be trying to consciously make good decisions. Yes, yes, yes. But sometimes we don't. We're human. And then the wonderful thing we should be celebrating is that you're here listening to something that can help you on a different way of thinking, or help you grow, or help you maybe improve on the decisions that you've been making, you know, and just help you. I just say, if we can be our better self as much as we can, that's a beautiful space to live in. And every part of you will be your better self as long as you're trying. Like, as long as you're trying and you never give up. It's like a diet. I tell you, I take a diet every Monday. Let me tell you, first of all, I shouldn't be thinking about diet. I know it's a eating habit, but that's the truth. Like, every day I'm like, okay, Monday is it. But I'm not going to beat myself, because one day that thing's going to click and you're going to see me looking real cute.
You look real cute right now. But you know, this also, what you're saying reminds me, we've both trained with Brendon Burchard, and he talks about, in any given moment, we can adapt up or down. And I think this access to the idea that nothing is wrong can help us adapt up. And then we're not saying if you made a mess and you haven't cleaned it up yet, let yourself off the hook. Go clean that shit up.
Yeah,
But
just
what
go
we're
clean it up.
Right. But what we're saying is, we can always be taking inventory. What worked, what didn't work, just don't do it again.
Yeah.
Clean up a mess you made with another person if needed. Definitely do that for yourself. But still, nothing's wrong. Like it all shook out how it shook out. And then who's going to be now? And back to what Lia said at the beginning of this. What are you giving of you now to them? And we don't need to be waiting until we get ours because we're owed to give the best version of ourselves. Give the best version of yourself. And man, will karma be just rewarding you, in my belief system, beautifully.
Yeah. And it's a freeing way of living. If anything, if all of this doesn't know that it's a freeing, don't you want to live? I mean, there are a lot of things that you can't be free from, right? There's a lot of things that are not in your control. But if you can control your mindset, and if this is not going to be your consistent way of thinking, you're going to shift into humanism. And that challenge is going to come, and that victim mindset is going to come, and that darkness is going to come. It comes to me. But the beauty is, the free part is, I know I got tricks to shake it back to the light. I got tips to get my mindset back right. I got ways to not stay in the darkness and not woe is me, and not stay in that mind. And so that's freeing when I know no matter where of the pendulum my brain shifts as a human, I know that I can get back to the target of greatness, light, joy, freedom. It's possible no matter what. And that is a beautiful life. And everything else just comes along with it, but that's a really beautiful, fully living life.
Yeah. And if this is resonating with you, I'm hearing kind of a 4-step process for us to all take into our day and our week and into our lives. It starts with just accessing this idea that nothing's wrong and the best of me, even now, is possible. And how do you start that? It's happening. We've just got to own it. It's happening. Now what? Nothing is wrong. What am I going to give?
What am I going to give?
Now what? Nothing is happening. What am I going to give?
And I like, I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's so beautiful, because a lot of our burden comes from self-infliction. Like I know I self-inflict a lot of these thoughts. And to really be here today and tell you, you're not wrong. You're so right. You wouldn't be here if you weren't right. You were beautifully and wonderfully made. You were created out of a miracle in your mother's womb. And I don't know science, so don't quote me on any of this, but in your mother's womb, I know there were more than one egg in that womb. And you happen to be the one that was created at that time. Miracle in itself. So for you to be sitting here and being able to listen to us today is a miracle. And it means that you are magical and a miracle, and you're awesome. And it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what you've experienced. All that matters is who you want to be, where you want to go, and how do you want to train this beautiful mind of yours to shift in to the greatness and the beauty and the light of life. And I'm honored that we have the option to just keep on fueling you.
Totally. And all of that so that the world can experience your heart. When you're living into nothing is wrong, we get to feel you. We get to be with you. We get to grow with you and learn from you. And you deserve that. You deserve showing up from that space. And then we need you showing up from that space.
Yeah, the world needs you. That's a beautiful thing too.
Yeah.
A lot of us, we should be reminded. I know the world needs you. Like whatever you have, you just showing up, walking out in the supermarket, saying hi to someone. You were needed that day. Like you're needed no matter how you think you may not be. You are here for a purpose and you're needed. I love that concept because we need to know that our presence is needed fully, though. Not our hidden presence, not our dark presence, not our dimmed presence, not our harboring all of these experiences that we've had presence. Not that. The you that came out of the womb, this free and flowy, no inhibitions, loving heart, that is needed. That's a wonderful statement, Rebeccah. I love it.
And there's going to be a moment, if you're watching this, where something goes down and you want to maybe go into fear or a lesser version of you. But if you can just hear Lia and I saying, nothing's wrong, so that in that moment, we can get more of you and you can create that ripple, then Lia and I made a difference today. And that's our hope, because you're not wrong, nothing's wrong, and we need the best of you. So hopefully today gave you some soul food to chew on. It's possible.
Loving you.
It's possible. And we love you. And Lia, I just love you. Thank you always for joining me for It's a Life Thing and Healing is Possible. Any final thoughts?
I love you all. I do. I'm honored to be able to take my life experiences and share them openly in prayers that it impacts someone in maybe even the smallest way. Then I feel that God is pleased. And so I'm grateful for you all alone in your hearts. I am.
Lia, I'm so grateful for you and everyone watching. We're just holding space for you wherever you are, even if it's dark, even if it's challenging. That won't last forever. And just what if nothing is wrong? You can get a hold of me at RebeccahSilence.com. Again, take the 5-day $27 Healing is Possible challenge and launch your life. Lia, how do they get a hold of you?
Yes, only $27.
$27.
Please. I mean, it's just beautiful. I think what I love about your challenge is we need people. We need this connection, this outlet. We've got to get out of our environment. We've got to get out of the people that we normally talk to, and we need a fresh perspective. And I feel like fresh perspectives bring greatness. It's like when you pour fresh water into a plant, it starts to grow. And so I feel like what you give and what you're giving is a freshness, and your life is priceless. So it's wonderful to have that opportunity and that experience. So thank you for sharing that with us. I think it's wonderful. I do. You can find me at Instagram at Lia Valencia Key, or find my jewelry page, which is this fun, loving inspiration at Valencia Key Design. I love you all.
Yeah, and if you don't own some Lia Valencia Key, what are you waiting for? Get on it. Get it for someone you love or yourself. It seriously, this jewelry will lift your vibration. It's gorgeousness, just like you, Lia. Thank you all for tuning in. Nothing is wrong. Go live it out. Be that example of what you can give, regardless of what you're facing. And let's build a movement. Healing's possible. Love you all. And we will see you soon.